Heartiest welcome to all my students. Today I am lecturing this class on the topic Functions of Entrepreneurs. There has been a great deal of confusion and contradiction in literatures on entrepreneurial functions. Classical economists considered the entrepreneur as the owner of the business enterprise to which he supplied capital. No distinction was made between the entrepreneur and the capitalist, and as a result, profits and interest were lumped together. But in modern corporation, ownership is separated from control. Ownership of business lies with shareholders who bear risks but do not exercise control. Control lies with a small group of insiders known as board of directors. This group bears little risks and receives a large remuneration even when no dividend is paid to the shareholder, that is, the nominal owners. Thus, the classical theory of enterprise fails in a large public company. A new theory of firm is required which should take into account the income of an entrepreneur when he is not owner of the business. Now it is utterly felt necessary to understand the functions of entrepreneurs. Functions of entrepreneur based on Mr. Peter Kilvey. He identified 13 functions of an entrepreneur, which included some of the managerial functions also. Let us try to know one by one. The first function is perceiving market opportunities. The second is gaining command over scarce resources. The third one is purchasing inputs. The fourth is marketing of the products and responding of competition. The fifth being dealing with the public bureaucracy. For example, dealing with concessions, license and taxes. The sixth one is managing human relations with the firms. And number 7, managing customer and supply relationship. Number 8, managing finance. Number 9, managing production. To cite an example, control of written records, supervision, coordinating input, flows with orders, maintenance, etc. Number 10 is acquiring and overseeing assembly of the factory. Number 11 is industrial engineering, minimizing the inputs with a given production process. The 12th function is upgrading process and product quality. 13th is, that is the last one, is introducing new production techniques and products. Kilvey further suggested that these functions may vary according to the size, type and setting of an enterprise and could be augmented through training and education. Now, I feel it would be beneficial if we discuss the functions of entrepreneur as commented by Mr. Arthur Hiscoll. Apropos of Arthur Hiscoll, the function of entrepreneur can be elaborated as follows. The first one is the determination of those objectives of the enterprise and the change of those objectives as conditions required or met advantageous. The second point is the development of an organization including efficient relations with subordinate and old employees. The third one is securing adequate financial resource, the relations with existing and potential investors. The fourth one is the requisition of efficient technological equipment and the revision of it as new machinery appeared. The fifth one being the development of a market for the products and the devising of new products to meet or anticipate consumers' demand. The sixth function is the maintenance of good relations with public authorities and with the society at large. Now, functions of entrepreneur. Having acquired the above insights on different functions of entrepreneurs given by the two eminent professors, now we can further envision the functions of entrepreneurs into three broad categories. First one is innovation. Second one is risk bearing. And the third, organization and management. Let us try to do one by one. First one, innovation. According to Sumter, an entrepreneur is basically an innovator who introduces new combination of means of production. Entrepreneurship is a creative activity, and entrepreneur introduces something new in any branch of economic activity. The carrying out of a new combination implies employment of productive means in a changed form. It is not necessary that new combination is carried out by people who control the product or commercial process. A new combination can be carried out by employing both unused and used means of production. As an innovator, entrepreneur forces the potentially profitable opportunity and tries to exploit it. He is a problem solver and gets satisfaction by attacking the problems. Again, according to him, the basic function of an entrepreneur is to innovate. He writes, everyone is an entrepreneur only when actually he carries out new combinations and loses that character as soon as he has built up in his business. An entrepreneur is never a risk bearer, according to him, though the basic functions of innovation must always appear mixed with other kind of activity. So, innovation implies doing new things or doing of things that are already being done in a new way. It includes introduction of new products, creation of new markets, application of new process of production, discovery of new and better sources of raw materials, and developing a new and better form of industrial organization. Innovation should be differentiated from research and invention. This is very, very important. Research seeks to produce knowledge, whereas innovation seeks to produce objects which work and can be sold. Innovation can be based on application of knowledge produced by research, but it may also be completely independent of research. Research and innovation are based on different skills. Innovation requires relevant information about markets, patents, and management, which have little to do with research. As practice often precedes theory, innovation may open the way to research. Here I take an opportunity to cite an example. Steam engine opened the way for thermodynamics, and computers led to programming. Innovations are not necessarily based on research, but on ingenious combination of existing materials and components. And again, another point, innovation is also different from invention. Invention implies the discovery of new ideas, new articles, and new methods. But on the other hand, innovation refers to the application of invention and the discovery to make new combination and thereby produce satisfaction and profits. Inventions may facilitate innovations, but an invention in itself is of little benefit to mankind unless it is marketable. The innovator provides this missing link. An invention becomes an innovation only when it is embedded in a product or service that can be successfully sold in the market. Some people believe that innovations are carried out by big firms. But the truth is that most of the innovations are the handiwork of small firms. Large firms may have strong organizational structure and management skills, but they lack flexibility. Due to their intrinsic flexibility, small firms can react rapidly to new demands and easily exploit new ideas. A large firm working under the constraint of size and competition tend to perfect existing lines of production in order to increase profits. On the other hand, a small firm tries to exploit the gaps in the production system. Unlike the giant firm, it is not obliged to engage in expensive conversion and can launch itself on new idea. It is not obliged to engage in expensive conversion and can launch itself on new narrow or risky markets. The second point is risk taking. Risk taking or uncertainty bearing implies assuming the responsibility for loss that may occur due to unforeseen contingencies for the future. An entrepreneur provides or invests capital in order to establish and run the enterprise. He guarantees interest to lenders, wages to employees, rent to the landlord. After making payment of these persons, little or nothing may be left for him. Economists like Cantillon, J.V. and others stressed risk taking as the specific function of the entrepreneur. An entrepreneur reduces uncertainty in his plan of investment, diversification of production and expansion of the enterprise. Now, business is a game of skill wherein risks and rewards both are greatly necessary. Ability to the highest order is required for success in entrepreneurship. An entrepreneur is an especially talented and motivated person who undertakes the risks of business. He visualizes opportunities for introducing new ideas and handles economic uncertainty. He is an enterprising individual willingly to assume the risks involved in innovation, new ventures and expansion of an existing venture. Now let us see the third functions of entrepreneur. It is nothing but organization and management. According to Alfred Marshall, organization and management of the enterprise is the main function of an entrepreneur. It implies bringing together the various factors of production. The purpose is to allocate the productive resource in order to minimize losses and reduce costs in production. An entrepreneur takes business decisions. In the initial stage of establishment of an enterprise, the entrepreneur may take all decisions by himself or herself. However, as the enterprise grows, the decision making becomes more complex. The entrepreneur delegates authority and responsibility to the subordinate executives also. Hitherto, the central functions of entrepreneurs remain the same. He or she, that means entrepreneur, determines what lines of expansion should be followed, how much capital to be utilized, how many manpowers should be employed or deployed. The entrepreneur finalizes the elasticity of levers, capital limits, price consensus, links with the external environment of business. Being at the helm of affairs, the entrepreneurs are the final judge in the conduct of his business. Thus, organization and management function includes: first one, planning of an enterprise; second one, coordination, administration and control. And last one, number 3, routine type of supervision. In the modern competitive age, entrepreneurs are persons or groups of persons who organize and direct business units. Land, labor and capital are all separately owned and scattered all over the world. It is the entrepreneur who brings them together and harnesses them to work in production. A person may own capital, land or labor, but ownership alone does not make him an entrepreneur. What is required is organizing ability for assembling these factors of production in the right production to obtain the best of the results. An entrepreneur formulates business plans, ensures their execution. He coordinates the agents of production, organizes and sets up the enterprises and supervises its operation. Therefore, he or she does take the final responsibility for the business. He makes the final choice concerning the business and sets the long-term policies of the enterprise. He is a decision maker and derives satisfaction by attacking problems. To conclude, I remark, when a person strives to be successful in any entrepreneurial area and ultimately when he becomes an entrepreneur, the person assumes different entrepreneurial functions. While performing these functions, the entrepreneur has intense desire to be different from others, open his eye and ears, possess enterprising spirit and determination to meet any challenging situation.